4 drives, 4 touchdowns. Let's talk about why Dak is back. What's up? I'm Jordan Palmer, breaking down the top 3 throws of the week. High school, college, this is pro, this is number 3.
JP.
For this one, let's go to Dallas, Texas. All right, the Cowboys are up 7-0 at this point, 5.5 left in the first quarter, 3rd and 9. This is Dak's second game back. Really interesting concept here. Take a peek at this. Bring CeeDee Lamb across in the motion, then on the 22-yard line. Outside guy kind of runs a little sail route. CeeDee kind of runs a wheel, but it kind of bends in there, and this ball is thrown right on the money. Touch, timing, trajectory, all 3 things you got to have as you get closer and closer to that end zone. And CeeDee Lamb, Dak getting on the same page. This is going to elevate everybody in Dallas, but so pumped that Dak was able to come back, all the noise of the success of Cooper Rush and all that stuff, and the reality is the Cowboys are rolling. They're chasing the Eagles, but they're rolling, putting it together at the right time of year. Jalen Hurts might have just done the impossible. Made me agree with a very strong statement from my friend Dan Orlovsky. And for it, let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is the Steelers from Pennsylvania taking on the Eagles, also from Pennsylvania, in not a rivalry, not a matchup, but a game both teams really needed to win. Philly to keep this thing rolling, Pittsburgh to get themselves out of this hole. And here's where Orlovsky comes into this. After this game, he tweeted out that Jalen Hurts has just become the best decision maker in football. Strong statement, completely subjective opinion, but Dan watches enough ball where when I hear him say that, I go, well, okay, what's he talking about here? I want to watch that. Can't just look at stats, can't just look at numbers. That doesn't tell the whole story. Dan does his homework, so I'm sure there's something behind that. But in this case, behind this was this throw. They're up 14-7. He pumps the bubble. A lot of nuance. This is a quick RPO fake. Shows it to the back, pumps the bubble screen. Here's A.J. Brown faking a stock block. Then poof, he's down the sideline. Only place this ball can be. Into double coverage. You got a corner trailing. You got a safety trying to help out over the top. You got to drive this ball, but it's got to come up and come down because you got to get it over a high hand by that corner. Either way, this is a dime. Jalen Hurts 10-0 in his last 10 regular season starts. Him and A.J. Brown connected on 3 touchdowns in this game. To be honest with you, the other 2 were up for considerations for the list. And right now, Philly, they found their guy, but I think the NFL has also found another guy who's going to start moving into one of the faces of this league as he's leading the only undefeated team in pro football. Patrick Mahomes just called this throw the throw of the year, and this is P.J. Walker. For it, let's go down to Atlanta, Georgia. P.J. Walker, really the 3rd guy on this depth chart. At Baker, Sam gets hurt. Both those guys are out. Insert P.J. Walker, gets a big win versus Tampa. In this case, the situation adds context. There's 34 seconds left in the game. It's 34-28. Gotta have it. Not just the ball placement. Look how freaking far this guy throws this. Sets up. It's a Hail Mary situation. Rolls to his left. Never sets his feet. He lets this thing go from the other 35, and this one goes 5 yards deep in the end zone. That's 70 in the air, rolling to your left, hitting DJ Moore perfectly in stride to take the game, to tie it up. An extra point wins it. They missed the extra point, go to overtime, end up losing to Atlanta. But we're not talking about which team should have won in that overtime games. We're talking about the best 3 throws of the week, and in this case, this is absolutely number 1. The final 37-34, Atlanta ends up winning it in overtime, and this one went about 70, but according to Next Gen Stats, it went 67.7 yards. That is the longest throw in the air so far this season. DJ Moore ends up taking his helmet off, gets a penalty, which backs the extra point, which is the game-winning extra point. Turns out it shouldn't have been a penalty because he was technically off the field. Big miscommunication there. They missed the extra point. They go to overtime. They lose in overtime. Crazy game. P.J. Walker just barely missed this list last week. I was not going to let him miss this list this week.